Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. This is Julie with JFK Freedom. And first, sorry, my kids are home today and I've got more content lately, so I want to go ahead and stay on top of that and go ahead and make the video anyways. And you'll have seen her anyway. She's making something with feathers today and glue. Want to give the Lord credit, thank Him for touching my mouth and putting His words in my mouth, that they may go out to the nations and over the kingdoms of the earth if they so choose to listen. And his word is sent to uproot and break down, to destroy and overthrow, to build and to plant. And what I might overthrow in your minds today, what the Lord will overthrow, is if some of you Americans are idolizing Trump still. I did. It's funny how the Lord works. So things in real life go along with the things I receive in the rhema. And I did meet with an American this week, and she was totally into conspiracy theories. Like, we agreed on almost everything except when it came to Trump.
Okay, I don't know if I can edit the beginning, so I'll just go ahead and say this. The topics today will include stuff to do with Trump and the 1,000-year reign, and some things people will receive in the 1,000-year reign. A little bit about the heart. The Lord explains a little bit why that's important. And not my goal to be rude or anything when it comes to Trump. It's just something I learned a while back, that there are pretty much no political leaders that we can put our trust in at this time.
I probably shouldn't talk about it too much, but there's a reason Yeshua is coming back. And if there was a ruler on earth who could really right the wrongs, I feel that maybe God would give them a chance. If Yeshua is truly planning to come back, I believe in my heart that it's because the Lord has allowed some evil. There has been some evil that has grown, and it's time to clean the swamp, but like the whole world. Anyway, if you're not sure on that, I encourage you to check out Tony's videos on A Minute to Midnight. He really does a great job exposing. He even exposes Trump. So I'm not into that anymore. But if you are interested in learning more about that, you can check out Tony's website. But anyway, I'll let the words speak for themselves and then you can decide. Obviously, I'm not saying you have to listen. It's your choice, of course. All right. All right, this is from February 28th, and he was talking about heavy weapons of mass destruction. Mass destruction coming to, yes, count 'em, only one world left. That's a joke, by the way, count 'em one. Coming to a world near you, my loves, and you will be the darling targets to blame for the New World Order. If you could just get on board with their agenda, all would be well with the world, and we can all, like lemmings and robots, move forward together in peace and harmony. Ha ha, how I am laughs at this sillily thought of plan to annihilate my church. So what, you disagree with parts of an evil agenda, my loves. Just because you may want to save the planet, dear saint, doesn't mean you should swallow this whole agenda, hook, line, and sinker, for a new, wonderful world awaits you, saints, and soon. Did you check out my sparrows video about the 1,000-year reign, aka millennial reign, saint? Please do it for me, dear one. It will encourage some of you with the breath of fresh air you need right now in these difficulter, more than difficult times. He has more jokes in these ones, and also the sentences trail off a little bit, so it's getting more relaxed with the rhema. Love, my dears, has been lost to most of the masses, so cut them a bit of slack for treating you and yours wrongly, like Shiza, and let's move forward like shining stars into the foray and final legs of your respective races, saints. Many of you listening to this channel are lovely to behold to I am, in ways you cannot even fathom, dear ones, so chin up, sweetheart, and guide your little ones out of the beast school system's wise mama. You know it's corrupt beyond all get out, and release any selfish ideas you have about needing time to yourself, my love. Do you want your kids to yourself, or do you want to share them with the Antichrist? And the Lord was laughing. That's what I thought, dear woman. Do it, sweetheart. Be a sweetheart and get those babies out, for they're like babies, ready to be slaughtered. Mentally, with peer pressure and the new, he laughed again. It's not new at all, so don't believe that bull hunky for a minute. Old agenda. coming up to annihilate I Am's church. That's all it is, saints. Marching orders drawn up for persecution of the true church, of the last people on the planet who have their heads screwed on the right way, saint. So don't think for a minute you're crazy, hate animals and babies. Oh, wait. They're the ones who hate babies and they admit it. So then back to the sentence. That you're crazy, hate animals and babies, and want to blow the planet up. Look, Saint, all this shiza comes together, hits the fan at this time, for a reason. Like a bird caught in the trap of perilous times, as Solomon wisely wrote, by I.M.'s move of his mind and pen, all those years ago. As I move through my sparrows, squeaky clean by now, Saint Mind, and pen today to warn you, my loves. Your relative time is short, my dears, whether you claim to belong to me or the dark master Sauron, Satan the unwise. And he laughed again. Yo, witch, listening today, what exactly do you think you'll get as a prize for killing off a few more saints on your own when it's Satan's agenda to kill off the whole condemned planet? And he used a different word than condemned. Do you think you get extra points, sweetheart, for doing that? Oh, wait, you're not a sweetheart at all, but a dark horse travailing in waters that threaten to drown your dark soul and take it to hell, like a handmaid in a handbasket. Whoa, wait a minute, she says. That combo of words don't make sense. Oh, but it does, my dark sparrow crow. It makes perfect sense to everyone listening, and this generation is astute enough to pick up on hints dropped, my loves, in error at times, by I wants to tell somebody my story, and not feel so alone any more. Full-breasted sparrow, spluttering and floundering last year, my loves, and yes, also sadly wanting very much to die and leave it all behind. You see, my loves, she didn't know and had no clue a big turnaround was in order, in the cards for her, from I Am's generous hand. I cannot do it. Just thought she'd attract another abusive mate to herself because she sillily believes too much in statistics versus I Am at times saint. It is truly a miracle what's about to take place, my loves, in her life. A very healthy, physically, spiritually, and emotionally included man comes her way, my loves, my dears, and is attracted to her already. Her servant heart to serve others showing up and showing out already in ways she doesn't mention out loud to y'all on this channel. For she wants more, more, more. Give me more. And he's laughing at me. Rewards. What are you doing, Marzi? In heaven. It is like my sparrow to think in these terms, dear saint, and some of you listening also need to take another leaf from my sparrow's book and learn to clap that big mouth shut, my loves, or the phone, I am should say, when you do good works, so that you can finally start ramping up some more rewards, my loves, in heaven, and prepare your servants' hearts, or prepare as servants' hearts for the 1,000-year reign. For yes, y'all will receive land, families, some of you, and farms, but it won't be like the selfish American system of build, build, build to make it all bigger and better than the Jonesy neighbors. No, no, saints. Just a deer in the headlights way of thinking, my loves. Purely carnal and reactive, my loves. So let's start thinking now how we can serve others languishing and dying on their farms of loneliness. Dear saint, for that's where my sparrow truly was last year. But now she's turning her gaze to others as we speak, miteinander, preparing a special meal for a friend who simply didn't have the time to do the same for her when her birthday came up in January, not begrudging her friend the difference in care, time, and money spent today on this sweeping, lavish display for her. For a woman who's not used to hosting anyone or anything, not on a regular basis anyway, this is a go all out moment for someone she truly enjoys, hoping her bearer of a man still at home on the premises will pick up his end of the bargain and be a good father tonight to two little rascally girls so she can enjoy some quality time with one of her only true friends in this still mostly lonely hour in my sparrow's life. I think it's fitting we talking about rascally kids. I'm thankful to have girls, though, I have to say. I have respect for anyone who has boys out there. Do me a favor, saints, and please, finally, once and for all, cease and desist Cease and desist with judging my sparrow so harshly. I am as ready to give some wops in general directions to those who don't follow I am's directions to the T on this. I am can see through your computer screen, says you are a saint, but what hurt you caused in my sparrow's life in past times, on purpose, to ruin the support of friendship of someone she thought she needed at that time. And you wonder why she doesn't want to talk to you. But I digress. Okay, enough on this, my dear. So y'all know that verse, a prophet is never accepted in their hometown. Well, I have tried to keep it a secret in general in my hometown, and unfortunately shared this info about this channel with the a wrong person. And the right people that I've shared it with are just not interested. So the Lord has called out the very few people that actually know about this channel in Vienna. All right, now we're talking about Donald Trump. And there's a play on words. He talks about abusing his wife, something about the wife being abused. And I thought at first it has to do with Felix, but then I realized it could definitely also apply to Trump. And I, unfortunately, yeah, I would lean towards that, not the other thing about him turning around and becoming this super wonderful person. Maybe he seems like that, but according to this, he's not. So I'm leaning towards what the Lord says on this, and I do believe these words are from the Lord. It's the same situation with other believers as well, sweetheart. Eyes and heart glazed over in false love and deception for a wannabe nitwit of a claims to be real Christian man who will one day save their sorry country from the global elites. The Lord was laughing again. Again, his laugh is not derisive. His laughter is not derisive. It's just like, okay, come on, let's not be silly. Like, it's kind of like that kind of laugh. Yeah, right, my loves. Get all that silly thinking out of your heads and hearts, dear ones, and turn to me, Yeshua, for the saving and fixing of things politically, socially, and yes, even emotionally. Subtle, abusive wise abuses his wife wrongly speaking. Oh, wait. You think I am can't speak this way, my loves. I am can and will speak to whom, through whom, and how I will. Does it align with Scripture, Saint? Yeah, it does. So drop, cease, and desist with any plans to blow my sparrow or I am's words through her out of the water for a few dropped sentences. Silly twisting of phrases and plays on words. Plays on words. You truly have no ideas, dear saints, of how to play with words and phrases like I am does with her. And after her time of doubt with the rhema, with these rhema messages and a huge whop she received end of November, beginning December from I am's generous, loving, but needs to pop my true high-level saints a good one at times, hands. She was ready to call it quits on all this, dear ones, and leave it all behind and go anonymous again, all for her integrity's sake, not wishing to deceive anyone into thinking she receives the real rhema from I am's generous hands. If they were her, how could she be this clever, saint? Words. So if they were her words. I am reveals again and reminds you all again today she can't do this. Not like this. Not this clever and quick to change topics. And God forbid, call out a witch who truly wants to and has tried to murder her online after my sparrow murdered her reputation online. Sets of words, phrases. Do you see or rather hear them, saint? She could never pull this off on her own, and the demonic sees and reeks in hatred for her for these messages. Yeah, so the clever use of phrase in that sentence was like, call out a witch online, but the way he phrased it, it was like, tried to murder her online after my sparrow murdered her reputation online. So that he was able to use murder and online twice in two different ways, but make it mean two different things was very clever, I thought, in that sentence at least. And he will, again, he uses like the same words like several times. So the part about the deer in the headlights, he's used that for a private part of a message, and then he used it for the deer in the headlights thing about the 1,000 year, about people who are trying to compete with the Joneses. So it's like him dropping these little hints throughout. And I have gone back this past month actually. I went back and I read through everything that I've written because I was having doubts. and I could see the poetry and the use of the repetition and the alliteration and assonance, and those things were just, it was blowing my mind. So I also had my moments of doubt about this, but after I went through the period of doubt, then it was like, okay, let's get back on board and continue to believe the Lord for his promises. All right, back to the message. And her computer truly did crash in November due to some Satanist can't stand her A word activity against her sweet, always has loved pariahs of society. You are in error to judge her so harshly, which self. She loves, loves, loves losers and quirky people, smiling in pleasure at a new acquaintance who married into her large after all the divorces, deaths, and remarriages, family in Emory. Acquaintance who said nary a word to her that day, but popped out the Voikin sign to her as a farewell greeting, parting sign. And what sweet regard she had for him from that moment on, although I am knows truly if he deserves that high status in her eyes and heart. My treacherous witchy witches, your dress and demonically filled eyes may certainly scare my sparrow, if she were to see you in real life. But some of your lonely ways are also her bread and butter, yet she operates of course in a holier way, to receive secret palm, held out in joy, to receive I am rhema messages way. So again, cut her some slack, you witchy witches, warlocky warlocks. These messages are necessary, some of my saints, wondering why she keeps talking to the losers in your eyes, spiritually speaking. Hello, newsflash, dear saint. I am call some of these dark ones to a moth-like secret flight towards I am through her sweet voice and channel. A turn things on their heads scenario. These dark ones könnte nicht verstellen. Truly, saints, so lay off my love, learning to keep it 100 with all of society and humanity in this dark, sick society, does sick things to my little precious ones, our. She wants, longs to keep it 100 with all people, including seething with hatred for her and hers, witchy witches and warlocky warlocks. So lay off my dove, dear saint, for she gets enough persecution from the dark side, and doesn't need it from your sorry at times for this. A word, saint. Oh, you don't think I am can use cuss words. Think again, dear one, and be a dear and not a stubborn ass to me. Here it switches to mean the animal. Oh, wait. In English that means an animal too, so relax for me, my dear ones, and be dears and not asses to me or her on these matters. Let dying leaves lie. Take the wops from I am's generous but also strict, as my dove wisely mentioned in her millennial reign video. Sometimes he doesn't finish the sentence, but you know he would be using the word hand at the end from I am's hand. But he's not adding all the words, and he's switching into the next sentence in the rhemas at this time. Again, dear saint, when this is over, go check it out. He's talking about the video about the millennial reign. For it's certainly not your typical, like a sermon at times, boring as hell, typical Bible study video. Do check it out and see if you aren't shocked in a good way and surprised at some of the info that pours forth from her sweet, longs to share more secret intel with her fellow saints' mouth. She is a dear, sweet doe to me, my loves, not just a sparrow, but graceful and slow to get up off the ground and make her moves, checkmate, in the spiritual realm. Sweet lady, who has I am support in pretty much all she does at this point, dear ones. So be my dears and leave her be from now on. Come back for more intel if necessary, but let's stop being idiots in the spiritual realm and popping up or popping off on her A word for minor faults, for they are truly minuscule like a sparrow by now. Want you to be mine, saints, and non-saints included. What do you want me to call you, silly? Witch? Or should it truly be something else, a better title? Perhaps not queen, but rather princess. How does that sound? Want you to be a sweetheart and not a dark heart, as my dove wisely began to understand several years ago. It's not about your service. It's not about your service at a brick and mortar building, dear saints. Although Mordor. I'm thinking about the Lord of the Rings because of Sauron. Mortar building, dear saints, although I love my sparrow for getting her feet dirty in that way again. sweeping the trash and dirt from the floor in her respective church's building. But hey, wait, we're off topic again. Anyway, as I was saying, it's about the heart, dear ones. And my sparrow will, yes, I am commands you to do it, sweetheart. For that lovely pastor, son of mine, is indeed curious what you have to say on that topic, my love. For his heart and mind were clouded with the worldly indoctrination of a secular pastoral teaching program designed to squash the Holy Spirit and nuance and word out of my sweet words in the Bible. And then he tells me to go ahead and, yes, make that video. And don't drag my sweet feet too long or too much on a project when I am gives me specific instructions. But the Lord is patient. A little bit patient. Okay, and as I usually mention the ending, it said, love you all, and a kiss on the cheek for me. Okay. This is Jolie. That's her nickname for YouTube. That's not her real name. Papa! Maybe I put it in Bible. There it is. Okay. Remember, if you direct your heart and stretch out your hands to Him, if sin is in your hand, oh my gosh. If you direct your heart on the right path and stretch your hands out to Him, if sin is in your hand, put it far away, and do not let wrongdoing dwell in your tents. Then indeed you will lift your face up to Him without moral defect, and you will be firmly established and secure, and not fear. For you will forget your trouble. You will remember it as waters that have passed by, and your life will be brighter than the noonday. Darkness will be like the morning. You will trust, because there is hope. You will look around you and rest securely. You will lie down with no one to frighten you, and many will entreat and seek your favor. God bless. And then we go back and turn.